I'm not sure exactly when when the meeting started, so I'll just say it again. So the first issue I wanted to talk about is restricting 1.7 to run only on 4.5 on .NET 4.5. So does anyone have objections to this or restrictions due to their poster, or I don't know if you have any information that could help us make a decision here.
So what will it break?
Well, if your hoster is only running 4.0, then it won't work.
But will it break any of the current modules that are on the gallery?
I don't think it should break anything because it's supposed to be back compatible, but you know, you never know those for sure until you try.
But we've already seen some of the methods that have been deprecated
yes.
and moved across to MS Core Lib.
Yeah, so it's more a question of support going forward so that we don't have to test it on both versions. I don't expect anything to break, and I would expect that 1.7 would probably run fine on 4.0, but it's more a question of not supporting it.
So would it be worth doing something on the gallery to say that this module works on 4.5 and the other modules work on 4? At least you got the information. Or just tell people to put it in the description, maybe.
Oh, you mean extending the gallery?
Only slightly, only slightly.
No, there is no such thing as an easy fix on
yeah, the gallery is so old.
I never said an easy fix.
Hopefully we move to something else.
Right.
I don't even remember what version of our chart it's running. It's an old one.
0 point something.
No. It's one point something, but I think it's 1.2 or something like that.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was 1.1 or 0.8.
Yeah, the last time we migrated it, it took days, weeks even. So that's why I'm so reluctant to change anything. It's just a pain. It's still hosted on the old Azure instances, you know, the ones where you had to deploy a package. And it's actually two different applications, and they need to work together. You add SSL on top of that, and it's a nightmare. But anyway. Yeah, so the question is there. If anyone has information between now and next week, we'll probably make a decision on that next week, maybe with a quick vote or something. But think about it. If you see, well, if on the one hand you see reasons not to, and on the other hand you see features in 4.5 that you would like to use, and you have, yeah, and that gives you a justification to actually push in the direction of doing it. All that is interesting, so let us know. I'll probably open a thread on the forums.
So Azure is already migrated, as far as I know. At least
what?
You can Azure. You can opt for 4.5. I know about GearHost. They are not providing 4.5 yet.
Argix is on 4.5. I don't know, is anyone on OrcsWeb? I know people on OrcsWeb.
Only for orcs.
Yeah, it's a little like the regular web, which is for trolls, except this one is for orcs.
What else we got going on?
What?
So what else have we got going on then?
Well, have we seen any progress whatsoever on 1.7, frankly?
Yes. Were you at the meetings? Sweet.
Well, okay. There's a long list, and Sebastian's workflow or some of Sebastian's amazing work does not hit upon the long list of items we were hoping the community would jump in with.
As
both
usual.
Okay, so that's one thing.
The list that we have for each version is propositions, and it only happens if people run with them.
Okay, so have we seen any traction with regards to the items on the list besides the things that Sebastian is demoing?
I haven't seen any pull requests yet.
Okay, therefore, the answer
I
is...
pushed one fix.
No, we're not talking about fixes, we're talking about features.
Therefore, there's been little traction on the long list, and we should figure out something out here, because either it's going to take forever to get to that list and have a 1.7, or we'll have a very small release for 1.7, which will exclude most of the items on the list.
As usual, yes. That's what will happen. You will get only a small fraction of what was proposed for 1.7. That should be understood.
To a point. I think also we should drive some of the goals and see who we can find volunteers out there who can make commitments to it.
That's what the threads are for each of the features. I'm not sure exactly what more we can do except going to people's house and.
No, I mean, look, if you okay, 1 second. You can have stand-ups, you can have regular meetings, you can have meetings that are incorporated as part of these committee meetings as either post or prior. There are ways to get people who willingly volunteer but yet have little motivation aside from...
First you need volunteers.
I agree. And then what you do is you organize those volunteers to have these meetings so that you do move it forward, and you have sort of milestones and deadlines and peer encouragement to show and tell. So there are ways to motivate that forward rather than just put up a forum and pray.
I'm not big on praying.
I know you're not. That's why I said it. It means it won't work for you.
I hear you. First, we need volunteers.
Okay. So have we not had any volunteers?
I think is through those threads.
Have we not had anybody?
Where people have expressed some interest.
Right.
But the second step is to actually get them to start building some of that stuff.
So could we take some time to look at those threads and see who's expressed some interest, and then reach back out to them and give them the support that they need to move it forward?
Okay, let's do this once we are done with the rest of the items for today.
Okay. I mean, I just think it's just as important as doing triage and bug reviews.
Sure. And we're not going to triage today.
But I think a couple of things is happening outside the Orchard core, like the workflows that Sebastian's working, and possibly a couple other things. It's in separate repos that we don't know about. So I think there is some work going on, but
but Ilan is right that we need to know what's going on.
Yeah.
We need progress reports. We need more visibility on that.
And again, it's all about fostering and encouraging. It's not about making people accountable. That's not at all what I'm saying.
That's understood. But we also need some visibility to have a better idea of what's going to go into 1.7.
Yes.
Yeah, and I agree with Ilan that having volunteers, it's like calling 911 when you don't point someone to explicitly call the 911. Nobody will do that if you just shout it into the space. So if we have a thread that is about some feature, we should discuss with particular people about whether they're willing to do that or not. I think, because just asking if someone could, jump on it, it's we won't have that, many people just by doing that, I think. Just my 2 cents.
Okay. So there was an announcement this morning about Orchard Prime.
Yes.
So let me paste the link to that chat. You know what? I'll just share my screen here. I'll show it. So those are the people who made the Orchard showcase, show Orchard.
They also provided the design for Harvest.
I was going to say that, yes. They did the design for the Harvest site, yes.
Sorry.
And a few others that you can see here. And this is their new site, and it's interesting because it's technically the first. Well, no, actually, there was the bind thing for non-free themes, but those are more like it's not build your own theme. It's really designer themes that you can buy for $20 a pop. So it's interesting. I'm very interested to see where this goes. I like the themes that they have. They have responsive design. They have demos of their themes. So that's nice. So I wanted to show that. Yeah, it will be nice to see more of that in the future. To see more people providing, professional modules and things. So great work here. So that was one of the things. Piotr had a question and a demo. And the question, I think, was about when are we going to merge versioned widgets. So the pull request exists, right?
I'm not sure if it exists. I can't remember if I pushed it or not because it was a while ago. But it's already here, so we have it in one step, and there is a will to push it as a pull, do a pull request. Actually, not a pull request, but a patch. It will be a patch.
Okay. So this is about being able to version widgets. So seems simple enough. It's something that we don't have today. We have versioning for most content types, but not widgets. So that should be.
What's the performance difference? What's the performance difference between the two?
That's a really good question. We know there is a perf impact, right, Piotr? We've seen it, but it can be fixed.
Yeah, but the perf hit is not that big actually because we're still doing the same. So when we didn't have a versioning for widgets, we still had the version. Orchard created the version, but it was when you save the widget, it was automatically published. So there was a version. So we're doing the same. We're just fetching one record from a database. Just whether it's latest or published. So for the front end, you're just, you're doing exactly the same query. So just getting the published version. So it's not about making the widgets versionable in a way that we have the navigation versionable, so we can move between versions and so on, but just to have the same way of versioning widgets that we have with other content items. So it's just about that. So the perf hit is there is no perf hit, or it's very, very, very slow. Very small. Sorry.
I've got one other change that I'd like to see, whether you guys shoot me down or not. But so when you display latest, published, and all, I'd like to see it where you've got the eyes on the right-hand side. so you just toggle that rather than a select list?
Oh yeah, the UI is totally a different animal here. The UI, because there's been a long discussion about changing the UI of the widgets, and it's still somewhere there. It hasn't been decided how it should finally look like. But what I'm talking about is just a feature that when you have a widget, you can have it versioned. And so the controllers support that, and the widget service supports that. But UI, we have a simple UI for that, when you can choose between the published, latest, and merged view of the widget screen. But we should decide whether the widget screen is actually good, which I'm pretty sure it's not the best. It's not the best UX. The whole widget screen.
You're saying we can actually separate the UI part and just if we could just include the capability to version under the hoods as part of 1.7, that would be a good first step, right?
Yeah. The UI, the UI update with the versioned widget is just adding the select, the drop down, when you can choose what you see, and it's the only thing I did with the regards to UI, because we didn't decide what to do, how to proceed further, and so and obviously this could be added to in 1.7 too. So, but if someone comes up with a better idea of UI for widgets, we can do that for 1.7 too. So.
Okay, so you said you had a demo, so why don't you go ahead and share your screen?
Sure.
Okay, and then we have Zoltán.
Okay, sure. Which monitor? Okay. Just tell me when you start seeing something. Okay, can you see the screen?
Yeah, you've got one hell of a big screen. How big's that monitor?
It's the resolution. It's 2560 times 1100 times 1200.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so there are three windows. Basically, the demo is about the push notifications. I created a very simple module that is based on a signaler, because I finally made the signaler is in 1.0 RC right now, so there won't be any API changes. But yeah, because over the last couple months, the API has changed, like 180 degrees each month. So it was hard to work with that. But right now it's stable, so I wrapped it up in a module and created a small module that works on top of that allows you to push notifications from server to each connected client. And so just let me show you how it works. So let's say I just have it's just a default installation of Orchard. So I have just a welcome to Orchard page. So if I hit publish now, all clients get information that welcome to Orchard has been updated. And the page is not, you don't have to reload the page or something. So it's like the notification on Stack Overflow or something. I just didn't include the close button because obviously there should be one here, but it's just for showing the capabilities. And so I'm publishing it a couple of times, so each time you have a notification displayed. And actually this functionality was like 20 lines of code. Having the signaler implementation in place. So it's let's show the code. It's just this one. And actually, it's an implementation of the notifier, so the whole functionality is here, and actually it's this one line. So I'm just getting the iConnection Manager. It's a signaler component that handles the client connections. I just get an instance of that because the signaler module plugs into AutoFag in Orchard, so so every component that you have in Signaler you can include through dependency injection. And what I do, I just get a connection context to a notification connection. It's just a declaration of an endpoint. It's an empty class that has to be there, just like this. And from the client-side code, from JavaScript, which is a two-liner, actually, you just tell to connect to notification connection. And when you do that on the client side, it keeps a persistent connection to a server. So it's much better than doing AJAX calls and polling and all this stuff. It's just has a keep alive connection with the server, so the server can push data to all the clients, or a subset of clients. So, for example, the caller, all the clients in a specific group or something. So, and it's not efficient; it's ultra efficient. So it's like you can push. I managed to push 20,000. Requests per second from server to client. So Signaler is really ultra efficient. So in all cases when you'd need to have a client server connection, the async connection between the client side code and server. So Signaler is it's a couple of orders of magnitude faster than the AJAX call. But what we are doing here, we are not pushing anything from the client. We're not sending any data from the server, from the client to the server. We're just sending the notification to the client. And how it looks like in JavaScript code, it's a code snippet that gets included on the bottom of every page. So it's a default Signaler code. So you just tell the framework to connect to notification-connection. That's the name of our connection. And on connection received, you just create a div and put it on the top. And that's, and you start the connection, obviously. And that's all. And by using, just a couple lines of code, you can push something from server to client. So it's very simple but useful sample. But you can build a chat, which if we have time, I can show you because I ported a couple of default Signaler samples.
So this would actually be, so Piotr, this would actually be really good in workflow, wouldn't it? So if not Windows workflow, I mean the workflow engine that Sebastian's running. Yeah. So if you
exactly.
Something or something happens, then you could notify someone that.
And that's the plan.
Time, that an editor's published, that an editor's article has gone out.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's interesting. The sample. I take it as a sample, the notifier that pushes everything.
Yeah, it is a sample.
The client. Because, it's probably not the best use case because really what's the point in this context, but what you said, Nick, is very interesting. You could have a widget, for example, that is your workflow notifications and where you get, as you browse the site, you get some real-time notification of what's going on. In a forum, that would be very useful as well. If you're a moderator on a forum, seeing the new messages pop up in a widget that is always there, that would be also very useful on a very active forum. I think people would really dig that. So this is quite promising. It's clearly very easy to use. So great work. Thanks.
Really good work.
Thanks.
Just want to add that goes for any moderation that it could be applied to.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, the whole point about Signaler is just about pushing something from the server to the client, because other way around is very easy with the tools we have now. But from the server to client, but you don't have a means to do that other way. So actually, it's really useful tool. And Bertrand, what you said about and Nick plugging into workflows or to the rules which we have now, I've already done that, but I'm not going to demo that because I'm not sure if it works now after the API changes. I haven't tested that feature. It's a separate feature in a Signaler module. I plugged into the rules, so you could send some data to a particular client as an action, and it supports tokens, multiple parameters. So we just have to write the client-side code to consume the data. And but plugging into workflows would be much better, because workflows are the successor of the rules, at least as Sébastien said. So it would be.
It would be interesting to have some kind of widget that is very easy to configure to listen to something like a channel,
I was going to ask about that. Can Signaler push those notifications to a mobile device, for example? So I can envision a mobile device where somebody who is mobile could be getting these notifications either for moderation, either for workflow acceptance, and actually then push that and then just submit the information back via Signaler back to Orchard.
Not just to to add to that, there is a service on Azure that actually helps you send that kind of push notification to devices. And what we're talking about here, to be clear, is having the notifications on your phone, outside of the browser. This is completely outside of the browser.
That's correct. Your Orchard app, it's your Orchard moderation administration application.
That sends you messages directly on your phone.
That's actually that opens up another interesting avenue, is that when you're editing content, two people could be editing the content at the same time, almost like Google Docs, but in Orchard. Yeah, there you go. What do you think about that, Bertrand?
I love it.
Yeah, that'd be so cool. But answering Ilan's question, actually, I can show it to you tomorrow, because I have a working Android application that's built on HTML5 and CSS3, which I built for demoing the Signaler 8 months ago, when it was in 0.3 or something. And I think it will work out of the box. I have to check it. I'm using the PhoneGap JavaScript plugin to be able to display an alert, it's called a local notification on an Android phone with your application running in the background. So when something happens in Orchard and you have your app running, you will have a nice notification, like, for example, the email from the email you received. So you can have the same using Signaler, and it works flawlessly. So it's doable, and it's a great usage, actually. So it's supported by mobile phone. It's basically supported everywhere you can use JavaScript, but not only JavaScript, because there is also a .NET client. So you can have two applications. For example, console application that talks to an Orchard site using Signaler, and for some management or something purposes. So there are lots of use cases. So it's just let me show you one of the samples. For example, the drawing pad is something I have already shown, and you probably remember that. So if I open up 3 windows, please, while the connection is established. It's because I'm working with the Chrome, and it can have just one open. But whatever. I have 2 windows open, and just let me right now. I can draw. It's every pixel on the screen is a single request to the server. So imagine how fast is it. And I'm using the application in a debug mode locally. So it's really blazing fast.
Yeah, that kind of application is kind of cute, but it doesn't show. Yeah. It doesn't really show what's specific about our chart in the module. But it does show a little what you could get in terms of collaborative editing of content item. But that would be a demo that would be closer to our chart itself. I mean, drawing here you could do outside of our chart and it wouldn't make any difference. But yeah.
Yeah, but so speaking about orchard functionality, let's say I have a chat sample also in this module. So what it does, it uses your orchard user, the logged in user, which it gets from the database on the server side to automatically log you into the chat window. So if I say let's join my room, and here let's join my room. Oh, please log in. Okay, it logged me out.
Yeah.
Okay, but basically every request is wrapped up in the orchard work context, so you're free to use all the orchard stuff every time, like you logged in user, rules or something. So it's the whole point.
You can make a simplified version of that, stick it into a widget, and you have a chat box.
Yeah, exactly. You have a live chat that is, for example, bound to a content item, and you can store the history in a orchard database, and load it when user comes in, for example, or something, or send it as a I don't know, as a ticket or something like this. So there are lots of possible use cases for that.
Okay, great.
Cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I'm trying to. I'll try to push that signaler module to the gallery as soon as possible. I need to clean it up a bit, but because there are lots of features that don't have to be there, that can be separated in a separate module. But yeah, I'll try to do it as maybe before the end of the year.
Cool. Thanks a lot.
Great, thank you too.
Any questions for Piotr before we move on? Okay, Zoltán, what do you have?
Yeah, I have something very special that just turned 1 year old, and I would like to share the joy with the whole group. So I will paste a link into the chat window. As you can see, if it really pasted, it's a pull request, and it's my pull request about file existence check for IStorageProvider. So it was 1 year on the 15th.
Yeah. Thanks.
So, cake for that. I hope it will really get into 1.7.
Why have we not pulled it in?
I don't know. You should really ask Sébastien.
The interface change would break existing third-party implementation. So what? I think we should just pull this in. We're going to break third-party implementations of stuff anyway. So what makes this so? What makes it special that we shouldn't pull this in?
I don't know.
Well,
Sébastien probably wanted some other methods as well on that provider, on that stories.
Well, pull that in and then add those after. That's.
Yeah. So.
Well, I suggest pulling it in. Bertrand? I mean.
Yeah.
You know, if it's one pull, then pull it in, and if Steve doesn't like it, then he can always revert it or make the change to what he really wants.
I don't want to do it that way. But
I mean, you know, we need to make room on 1.7, and if Sebastian's on holiday, then someone's got to do some work on something.
That's what Zoltán has done here. It doesn't mean that I'm going to merge this in, because I know that he had something to say about that, so I don't want to. I don't see the point. So thanks for the pull request. Thanks a lot. This is great. Yeah, we'll put it in as soon as Sébastien agrees with it.
All right. I'll ask Sébastien about this again.
Mm-hmm. What did he answer the last time?
He said okay, so he didn't have any objections, but he wanted to add some, I don't know what kind of methods, but some other methods as well.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, so that's a good reason to let him do it if he wants to add more stuff. What exactly did he want to add?
I can't remember.
Yes, the diffs are not working on CodePlex. I can't see the changes, but okay.
All right, so there are two new methods in IStorageProvider in this change set. One for file existence check and one for folder existence check. So there's currently no way to check the existence of files or folders with IStorageProvider without catching exceptions.
Okay, and the implementation that we have is the file system storage provider and the blob file system provider. Did you implement that as well?
No, I just modified the file system provider, and I think there are probably two additional implementations out there.
So those will have to be modified, right? They will break because of that.
Yeah. So there's one for Amazon and one for I don't know what. I don't know whether anybody is using them, but these module authors should be contacted then.
Okay. What else do you have?
Nothing else from me, but we have something commonly with Benedek.
Yeah, I'd like to share screen and show you a demo.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, I guess you're going to see my screen. So I'm not going to resize the windows to full screen because you know, I have to feed the windows into the area that I'm recording to YouTube. So so you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So Zoltán and I are have started to write a module that has doesn't have a special or any specific functionality, but it serves to newcomers to learn how to develop modules for Orchard. So basically what we have here is that we have a little introduction that says that you should know about ESP.NET read the documentation of Orchard and stuff like that, and then it goes in a linear, more or less linear way on the steps how to you know, put together the pieces of Orchard development, like what we use, dependency injection, you know, writing controllers and actions. So we have a lot of comments, links to the specific parts of the Orchard documentation and other resources like Wikipedia and stuff like that. So basically we have some code and a huge amount of text to people learn how to develop Orchard modules. What we have currently is you know, the creation of you know, controllers. That's basic stuff in MVC. of course, we are creating services, using drivers, creating shape templates, creating them, creating shapes with drivers and dynamically and stuff like that. So it's still, oh, and we have admin menu, some permissions, resource manifests, routes. So the basic stuff are already there. We are still in the process of expanding it. So caching and filters are coming this week, maybe tomorrow. So yeah, that's what we're working on nowadays.
Okay, this is really great. It's a great resource. It should be on the. We should have pointers to that from the documentation site.
Cool.
Maybe we should have a training section that takes things in a more narrative form, where we don't just describe what's there, but you know, we.
As you mentioned, training. We have a little. Oh, where is it? We have a little center of knowledge about. Well, it's not exactly specific knowledge, but you know, it's like the steps and just the titles on orchard development and other stuff like that. Basically, the module is what's going to be the most useful stuff in that.
Yeah, so you guys are clearly ahead of the curve in terms of training. You made the first university training for orchard that ever existed. What would you say about owning a training section on the main documentation site?
That sounds great.
Okay, so let's do it.
Okay, we'll talk about it, and
let's start a thread, the three of us, or if people are interested in joining in, I'll be happy to include them, and we'll discuss the details of that. But I really think you guys should own this, because you are clearly the leaders here. So.
Okay, yeah.
Ilana, I'll include you.
So basically, it is good because you know we have the documentation, which is well. I wouldn't say it's incomplete, but for orchard developers, okay. So you need to read code to know about stuff, especially the depths of the API. We would like to help people introducing themselves to it. That's the basic idea, and one very important thing is that Sipka's presentation at the Orchard Harvest was kind of an inspiration for that, because that presentation was really awesome, and in his blog there's a very good 15-part demo training sort of that is at the 11th part at the moment. I guess I read it all, and I wrote the code. That should be included in the documentation as well in some way, if Sipka agrees.
Is he still here? I don't see him.
No, I can see Sipka as well.
Oh. Okay.
So I will include him as well.
Okay, great.
You know, speaking about the training and the documentation, so I don't know what you think about it, but I guess splitting the docs, so the raw information about the orchard internals, and the training on which you will have different, links to sources, videos, training materials, and possibly information about possible commercial training and trainers or people who are willing to train others. Have it as a separate thing from the docs, so the documentation can be kept small enough so it won't grow big and have the more complicated training things separate. Because right now we have the docs, which consist of multiple articles that are either the technical ones or more elaborate ones about more specific scenarios, like relations or something. So
training and documentation are to separate things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, actually, this module is neither of them. So the documentation is a really general thing. Training is a specific, for example, for a company who wants to invest in Orchard. And well, this module's purpose more or less is for someone who is starting to learn Orchard development, but of course can be used in a training.
Yeah, so Benedek, so maybe because I created a module called Jumpstart very long ago, and it's way outdated right now. So I can obsolete that one and redirect to your sources because it's more or less the same thing, but I just didn't have time to work on that. But you did it, so it's great. So I can not to have not to have to couple the old code, which can be quite confusing for users. So just to point to your sources.
Okay.
So if you could send me a link where is it available or something, so I'll just put it on the main page.
Here it is. It's Orchard Training Demo at codeplex.com. We are going to publish it. Shall I publish this now, Zoltán?
I've already did it and I pasted the link into the chat window.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. All right. So it's published.
All right.
Yep. Okay. So that's it.
Okay. So we have a few minutes left. Is there anything else that you wanted to show today?
Not for me.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. So yeah, let's take a look at the. That's right. Let me go there and share my screen.
So on the taxonomy module, just jumping ahead a little bit, I think the only thing missing from the taxonomy module at the moment is the migration path. At least from what I can see. Will the migration path, out of interest, be done in the 1.7? 1.7. That special 1.7 module.
Maybe. Can we talk about that next week?
Yep.
Make a note of that.
Just one more, short thing because before we proceed, I was thinking about tokens and making the tokens interface a bit more user-friendly. So it can be postponed to the meeting next week, but I was just thinking about an interface that would render the current values of the tokens, because right now you can use the token, but you don't see the value until you actually use that. So it would be good to.
Are you sure we're going to have a meeting next week? It's Christmas Day. I'm not going to be around.
Oh, yeah.
Christmas Day?
Oh,
well,
yeah.
Next time then, yeah. Let's see it right now. There won't be a meeting this week.
And the week after is
New Year's after that. Hangover meeting.
Well, let's face it, what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks?
Some funky shit's gonna happen.
So maybe we could just as an exception to do the meeting next week, some other day, between the Christmas and the New Year's Eve. But I'm not sure how many people could attend actually.
No, I think we should skip next week. For the week after that, we'll decide another day. Let me take a quick look at the calendar here.
On a third or a fourth, maybe. It's Thursday or Friday. Because second could be.
Yeah, the third. Let's say the third. So next meeting will be January 3rd. Same time. And Nick, you wanted to talk about, already forgot. Yeah, taxonomy.
I mean, yeah, I'd put it in, but if you want to wait for Seb, then that's fine.
Bertrand, based off of our profiling, have you seen whether taxonomy can use some performance enhancements there? Hitting it on our older version of Orchard, it's painfully slow in the admin.
Yeah. Yeah, there are some performance problems that creep in when you start having some bigger taxonomies.
Yeah, we have some pretty big ones, and if we're going to get rid of tags and only use taxonomies, everybody's going to end up with very big taxonomies.
Yeah, but the thing is, I want to test that on 1.6 and not on.
Okay, and then there was another feature that Nick and I stumbled upon, where, actually Sibka and or Nick, where we need to be able to have multiple hierarchies for taxonomies. I forgot what the example was, but it's something that we should bring back up when we review it as part of core. And then we'll have a really fantastic product.
It was more along the lines, I think it was it more along the lines of related fields? Where a person could, I can't remember.
There were two different cases, one of which is similar to what you're talking about, and another one that Sibka and I stumbled upon.
Okay.
Speaking about performance, I'm thinking.
SignalR?
No, I'm thinking about the taxonomies. Because of of how Orchard handles the related content, and when you have graphs or subtrees, it will always be a perf hit. So we should rethink how it should be handled on the database side of things. Because right now I don't see a way we could avoid having lots of queries to get the whole subtree.
Even if you don't have relationships, the way the item controller works right now, we are fetching the content item, but not the parts associated with it. That's a select n plus one problem right there that we could mitigate. So we've had discussions about that with both Sébastien and OneStop. Yeah, we'd like to bring some solutions to that problem. But yeah, relationships is another. Maybe there are some settings that we can add on the content pickers.
Yeah, about handling hierarchy, different items, so relationships and so on. So I've seen a .NET library somewhere that implemented the in-memory graph that could be used to store data that's been prefetched from a database. So we wouldn't have that perf hit each time. So it could be cached, or it's on Bitbucket somewhere.
We're really running out of time for today. Let's have a big performance discussion next time.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a huge subject, so it's not something that we should talk about 5 minutes before the end of the meeting. Yeah, so yeah, we could look at all the discussions today. Do we want to? Because that is also going to take quite some time. So why don't we do this next time? Any objections?
No.
Yeah, it's already been an hour, so I will add that to the topics for next time. I will also review the state of the threads right after this meeting. If others want to do the same and look at the threads that they are interested in, and maybe consider contributing code, actual code, not just design. It's a good time to do that. You know, I mean, it's the holidays. You have lots of free time, all of you. So yeah, it's a perfect time.
Yeah, for those of you who want to get away from your family, go to the other room and start coding.
Exactly. Yeah, no distractions from work. You know, it's perfect. So this being said, yeah, we'll table that for today, and we'll move it to the next time. Thanks everyone for attending today. Some great demos, great announcements, and lots of interesting things to do in the coming weeks. So thanks everyone, and happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Festivus, or whatever you're celebrating. And we'll talk next year. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Talk to you next year.
Yeah, thanks.
Happy
Bye,
holiday.
everybody.
See you in the new year.